welcome to the Creaky Pines Podcast. My name is Bethany, and this is a podcast dedicated to my knitting and sometimes sewing adventures. You can find me on Ravelry as Bethany Meeker and on Instagram at Creaky Pines. So I just want to thank you all, any new viewers, for checking me out here, and for any returning viewers, I appreciate your support very much. So let's go ahead and get into some of the knitted goodness. I have one finished object, which is my Soldotna Crop by Caitlin Hunter. You remember from the last episode, all I had left to do were those itty bitty little sleeves. That was it. And I was dragging my feet on that for, I'd say maybe 3 weeks, which is ridiculous because it took me maybe an hour to finish up the sleeves. But all the ends are woven in. It's been blocked. Some notes on the modifications I made was I did a tubular cast on for the neckline, so it's just a little extra stretchy for when you're pulling it over your noggin. And I also did the same, I did a tubular cast off or bind off on the bottom ribbing. See here, I wish I would have done that for the sleeves as well, because it is just a little tight around my upper arm, or maybe even not going down to the smallest needle size. That way it's still a little bit looser. Then again, I'm just not used to wearing short sleeves on a regular basis. I much prefer a nice 3/4 sleeve, so if I would have had enough white yarn, I probably would have done 3/4 length sleeves on this sweater. And I also did 8 pattern repeats for the body. So that comes just a little bit below my natural waistline, just a smidge. I do not have any pictures of me wearing it just yet, but I did pair it with a lovely brown pinafore wrap dress that I have. And so I just kind of slipped it right over top of that, and it was just perfect. So yes, I am very pleased with this. This is also made from leftover yarn from a previous color work project. So it was a way of being thrifty and getting the itch to do some color work to scratch that itch of doing a color work project. So this is the second sweater I have completed for the year, so I have not done a terrible lot of knitting this year, but we're getting into a better routine with the baby, so I am able to get just a little bit more knitting time in during the day. So fingers crossed I can get another sweater in this year. Alright, so that is all of my finished projects. So moving on to my whips. I've mostly been working on 3 projects. And the first one is, let me get that over here, my Regia socks, Regia Perfect socks that I have dubbed my Christmas socks. This is the Arnie and Carlos designs for it. Let me get off here. I did a 64 stitch cast on with 1x1 ribbing. You can see there, last time you saw it, I think I had maybe that much of the ribbing done, so I've made quite a bit of progress on it. This is using US size 1 needles, or I think it's 2.25? Yep, 2.25 millimeters. So this has just been a nice project to take with me on car rides when we're going out. I took it to a play date with Emma and a group of other moms, and it's just really easy to set up or pick up and set down when I'm with Emma. So yay! I hope to have these done very soon, but I still have a ways to go. Let's see here. So my second Alright, and so my second whip is also a sock. I cast this on after I finished the Shell Cottage sock, so back in June perhaps, and I just finally picked it up again. I had maybe, pretty much up to here completed the last time I had it out, and this is the Winter Rose Socks by Helen Stewart. It's part of, I think, her first Sock Society collection. I'm to the point where I'm ready to turn the heel, but it is a lovely lace pattern. The reason why it's taken me so long to get through this one, otherwise I feel like I would have had a whole second pair by now, is because there's a line in the pattern that has you doing knit 3 together, and I find that to be a little fiddly. And this is something that I have to sit down and kind of concentrate on, so it's not very good baby knitting. But it has a lovely 1x1 twisted rib, which I really do like. I know some people don't like the twisted rib, but I think it's a really nice detail. And I'm doing this in Jagger Spun, one of their sock bases, and it's in the color Garnet, I believe. If I remember correctly, I lost the ball band. So yeah, but I'm very, very pleased. I'm sure this lace will come out so lovely once it's been blocked. So I'm looking forward to getting another pair of socks done, hopefully very, very soon. So it's just lovely and has a nice slip stitch heel going on here. And like I said, I'm getting ready to turn the heel and pick up stitches for the gusset, and then onto the foot, and before I know it, I'll be casting on a second pair. So those are the two of the 3 main projects that I have been working on, and they have both been socks. So I'm the third project that I've been working on is a shawl design that I am creating. I'm still working out on a name. I'm about to start the 3rd skein of yarn for this, so I'm very, very excited to have a nice big schlinket of a shawl. And yeah, so hopefully I might actually have it almost done by the next time I podcast, so in the next 2 weeks, fingers crossed. Hopefully it just flies off the needles. It is a very simple stitch pattern. It's a texture using lots of bobbles, because I find them to be just so much fun to knit. So again, those are the biggest projects I have been working on recently. Not as amazing as getting a sweater done again, but I do want to talk about something that I have just been itching, just dying to cast on. I've actually already ordered the bulk of the yarn that I will need for it, and I really want to cast on the No Frill Sweater by Petite Knits. And I was mostly inspired by a green sweater that Melody Hoffman has, I think, just finished knitting. I think she's working on another design, I'm not sure. She didn't include a pattern name in the description, so I'm going to assume that it's her own design. But the color of it had raglan sleeves, so I wanted to make a green sweater for myself. And I have Tuku wool. It's 100% finished wool, and I have it in this lovely green colorway. We have 8 skeins of it that I ordered off of the Woolly Thistle. I just find it a beautiful, rich forest green, and I'm very, very excited to get going on that. However, I have come across an issue. I am still searching for a mohair blend to go with it, because I don't know why, but I really want to have a nice mohairy, halo-y, cozy, just simple old sweater to throw on this winter. And yeah, I'm not having the best luck. So I would love to reach out to you guys if you have any suggestions on where you love to get mohair from. I'm struggling if I want to do it in a dark green color or take the chance on doing a blend. I know some of those turn out absolutely beautiful. I just haven't had the courage to try that yet, so maybe I'll figure something out. Maybe I will grow courageous and I don't know, do a blend of different colors. Maybe like a cream would be interesting to lighten it up, but then again, I don't want to lose all that lovely dark green color, so we shall see. Let's see here. So I guess that can kind of move into stash acquisitions with me getting the tuku wool. We also, last weekend, went to the Milwaukee Makers Faire that they had at their convention center. It was like right across from the county courthouse near the Natural History Museum. And there, the Makers Faire was mostly for robotics. You had a lot of LARPing, so live action role playing. So a lot of people dressed up. I think I saw like 5 Boba Fett's from Star Wars, which is really cool. They had these Tesla coils set up, and they had a guy dressed as a knight, in the Tesla coils. I think he was making music with it. I don't know. It was crazy. You had like a little racetrack where people made little racing cars, and you had like the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo going through. You just had so many different themed little race cars going through. I think there was the Oscar Mayer Wiener like hot dog mobile. It was a lot of fun. Emma had a great time, and while we were there was a yarn vendor, and this is the yarn shop. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. But the hand dyer is Critical Sheep. So you can see here that has the dice that you would use for Dungeons and Dragons, which was really fun. This is a worsted 100% superwash merino, and this is in her Ghoul colorway, so it's her Halloween colorway. And I picked up 2 skeins of it. See here, it has a lovely golds and purples with the cream. And so I'm thinking of casting on something for Emma in ways of maybe a cardigan or a little sweater for her, finally doing a knit for her. And then hopefully if I had any leftover yarn, I would do like maybe a little hat for her, or I have other spare yarn to do a hat as well. But I think it would just be nice because this also has some folly colors, and if I make it big enough, she should be able to wear it into early spring. Because I don't know how springs are going to be up here in Wisconsin yet. I just know back in Illinois it was the saying, in like a lion, out like a lamb for March was very, very true. Very windy, very cold, going back and forth between a few little heat snaps, and then it would have snow. It was crazy. So yes, I'm thinking about doing something for Emma in this and getting something cast on for her, but I've just been telling myself that I need to wait until I get a few of my other projects off the needle, so maybe the shawl that I'm doing, maybe getting those Christmas socks done before I cast on something for her. I also received in the post or in the mail just on Friday is the newest issue of Lana Magazine. I haven't read all the way through yet, but the designs are quite beautiful that they have going. Especially, I'm really liking the woodbine because it has mohair, it has lovely little lace panels in it. Otherwise, I don't know if I don't know. I just I don't really knit much from these magazines. I have a few older projects that are still on the needles from some of the earlier issues, but I don't know. I just love getting the magazine because the photography is beautiful. I know this is weird, but like the texture of the paper is really lovely. The interviews are great that they feature. Different makers, different designers, dyers, people in the industry. It's just really lovely. So I'm very much looking forward to sitting down with either a cold brew or maybe a hot cup of tea to go through this magazine and just really enjoy it, just really soak up the pages, the imagery, just everything about it. So I'm very, very excited to get through that. So that is it for stash acquisitions. Let's see here. Like I said, nothing too crazy going on in our lives right now. Last week, Em and I did take a short walk next to the lake, so we have a little bit of footage at the end of the waves at the lake. It was very, very windy on Lake Michigan earlier this week. But otherwise, I should move on to my petite plaisir. So at knit night earlier this week, one of the ladies was discussing these sock patterns or knitting patterns inspired by Agatha Christie's, one of her characters, Miss Marple. And it kind of got me on to wanting to read some of her novels, maybe just cozying up with a cozy mystery. Back in high school, I remember us watching her Death on the Nile, which I found very intriguing. It was very fun to watch. And of course, you just had the murder. I think it's Murder on the not Polar Express, the Orient Express, not the Christmas movie with Tom Hanks. Murder on the Orient Express. I haven't watched that one yet, but now that my curiosity is piqued. So on Friday, Em and I drove up to Green Bay to visit the bookstore, and I picked up several books by Agatha Christie, but I am starting off with her very first published work, which is The Mysterious Affair at Styles. So I just want to read. It's not a very thick novel. I think it's more like novella size. But it introduces you to one of her other main characters. I'm gonna butcher his name. Hercule Poirot, a Belgian detective. So I just want to read the back of this to you, so that way you know what this one is all about as well. So, a wealthy woman is poisoned at an English country manor, and the world of detective fiction is changed forever. With The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Agatha Christie launched herself and her beloved Belgian detective Hercule Poirot into popular culture history. When Captain Arthur Hastings runs into an old friend, John Cavendish, and is invited to the family estate at Styles, he has a premonition of approaching evil. Outside, the Great War is still raging, and England is in upheaval. Cavendish's widowed stepmother has brought the turmoil home by marrying a sinister-looking younger man. When she is killed, presumably poisoned with strychnine, he becomes the first and most obvious suspect. But other family members may also have motives for murder. Luckily, one of the Belgian refugees from the German occupation staying at Styles is a retired police detective. Hercule Poirot is on the case. So I am very excited to cozy up to this novel and really dive into it and just really getting into all of her works. So with that said, I think that is it for today's podcast. It's going to be a very short one, not a whole lot going on like I said, but I will go ahead and roll the footage of our little stroll by the beach or by the lake. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, have a wonderful start to autumn, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.